Fire, fire, fire.
Shit, Ben's 400k GoFundMe won the PR war, but can he stop the RICO case? Who's Enrico?
Reckless Ben has got some big wins in the bricks and minifigs case, but as he's got those wins, he's also facing some huge liability. We're going to talk about that today on The Legal Mindset, where we teach you to be your own judge. I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney. Now, let's jump right into this. We've been providing kind of play-by-play, day-by-day updates as this thing develops.
Okay.
So one of the first things, and perhaps the most humorous things, is the fails by the police. And there was an absolutely glorious fail that happened after our last video. So the unredacted body cam footage came out. I covered it on my channel. Almost 500,000 of you watched that here on my channel. And thank you for that, by the way, leaving likes and comments on that video. It really helps out. And got that information out there to everybody. And they had to issue in a...
Oh, RICO means racketeer influence criminal organization. Wow, smart chatter. Good job, Cheddar.
Official statement from the America Fork Police Department. The American Fork Police Department recently discovered that files not intended for public release were uploaded to a public folder. Upon identifying the issue, the police department promptly removed those files and conducted a review of the records associated with this matter. Following that review, under the applicable records laws, we'll get into that because I am a master of public records laws. The department removed all previously posted files and replaced them with the files approved for public release. The files currently available are the files approved for public release, and the members of the public and media are asked to use those files.
This is
absolute egg on the face of the PD.
Are they talking about the redacted footage where they like redacted certain things that made them look bad? Yeah, like we watched the whole video and there was parts of it that were like censored. Holy cringe.
Number one, it's very
the redacted
sloppy.
audio, and
really
the visuals too.
Detail, and they're going through this gung-ho because they're mad, because they're emotional. They're not thinking procedurally, rationally. They just really want to get this guy, and they're trying to do anything to present their side of the story and try to make Reckless Ben, look bad and hide whatever they can hide. You really can't make stuff like this up. I dealt with, in Florida, many public records requests working with communities. I work with small communities all across Florida, and occasionally there would be a typo that got out there or some small mistake. But whenever you have a big file, something that's important, you triple check. You pay a lawyer to make sure that all that's released is what needs to be released. And in this case, whoever was reviewing this did not do a good job and absolutely messed this one up. Or
you could also argue they must have messed up on purpose. Like maybe they find out later through exposition or whatever it's called, they could find out if it's like actually them doing it out of malicious intent.
When you look at the actual footage itself, which is the second big thing here, and you say, why were you trying to hide anything that was unredacted, right? That first half when they're talking there on the stoop of the house, what exactly was in that you thought couldn't come out? It's sounding kind of ridiculous, and it's sounding like you're hiding more than you need to hide. In these cases, as the government, being more transparent works better. Trying to hide stuff doesn't work. And I say that as somebody who has represented governments. It does not look good when you hold back information unnecessarily, and that's what America Forks keeps trying to do. So that's an absolute L here. Now, before we get to another L that Bricks and Minifigs takes, I'm doing a follow-up because today's sponsor is once again freecash.com.
Man, Free Cash is getting a lot of ads,
a little extra money. Lawyers like that money. Click on
Florida
the link
don't fuck
in
around.
my description, as well as in the pinned comments.
That's why we have a lot of cameras in Florida.
Do some games on there if you're already playing games. Hey, might as well get some cash back from that or do some surveys. It's not a get-rich-quick thing, but it's also not a scam. It's a registered German company. Check that out with the QR code on the screen or the link below, freecash.com. All right, back to the screw-ups.
Free cash, I love free
cash. Bricks and Minifigs spin. So they tried to spin to the mainstream media here. You see this with KSL News Radio 102.7 as Utah-based reseller parts ways with owners involved in viral Lego theft allegations. So trying to say that, hey, we as corporate have distanced ourselves from all these bad people. We've gotten rid of the bad guys. That's their corporate position now. Well, it turns out that
it's not
was a
true.
lie, right? The lie detector said that's a lie. You look at the
dude. I feel like we're gonna have to wait just a little bit, probably like a couple of years for this to go through the courts. People are just gonna find out that like. They're going to find out eventually, like, the truth of this, man. Brandon Best knew Brian Algian withdrawing. Yes, bro. Yeah, I'm sure they're not related in any sort of way, bro.
Filings here, and you see that Bricks and Minifigs with Brandon Best, who was one of these bad characters involved here, that they came out and publicly said they parted ways with. Well, he's still on a store in Eugene, Oregon. Womp womp.
Womp womp.
And this is the sort of thing that the internet detectives.
Also, when they shut down, when they were getting investigated in Oregon, don't they just have other stores there anyway? Couldn't they just have fucking moved the Legos over to another Bricks and Minifig store since it's like a franchise thing?
On X, on other
it's like not their
platforms,
only
on
place
YouTube,
of selling.
are finding that mainstream media is really not finding. So shout out to all those people on forums all over the place. This thing is getting out there, and the internet sleuths, you know who you are doing an excellent job of logging this and not allowing them to get away with these corporate shenanigans. And I know these are corporate shenanigans because I used to pull certain tactics like this back when I was working on the corporate side, trying to do an old switcheroo. Another switcheroo they're trying to do here is changing and filing for a new LLC in Oregon. So they're trying to file a new one here, the Willamette Forest Ops, trying to switch out LLCs, play a little games there. But now people are spotting this and calling this out, and that's just not going to work. The other thing, which is on the side for Ben, and Ben really had a huge W here, which he can celebrate, is he's gotten to almost 450K in his GoFundMe. Now, it's excellent. Obviously,
that's good.
That is looking to go towards...
We got to protect it, though. He's got to protect it. Again, people are like, oh, why don't you just come forward and, like, say all these things so that you can lose your GoFundMe? You do realize you fucking need that money to fight them, man.
The man sells, or
it's down right now.
Some of the legal defense, etc. Stuff going on with this. That's absolutely fantastic. But what that also creates is a giant target on his back. Now, we saw in the footage how they were very acutely interested in those GoFundMe funds. And that's because they want some of that money. If they can get that money, they're going to do anything they can to try to get that money. Because if you thought they were interested in 200K worth of Legos, which
200K of Legos requires a lot of effort to sell and redistribute. Even from the get-go, when they started saying, like, oh, they got 200K worth of Legos, I'm like, that's gonna take a lot of time to, like, resell. They're interested in that fucking raw cash now, because it's fucking cash. They don't have to put in a lot of effort into, like, actually putting in work to sell it, or to sell the collection.
They say debatably is 100K, whatever, 100, 200K of Legos. They're more interested in 450K almost, it'll get there, of cold hard cash. You better believe they want some of that cold hard cash. And look, there's nothing wrong with being interested in money, but there's one thing about how you go about it, right? And being blindsided by a corporation that may not have your best interests here, and also failing to prepare for this and take this seriously is a problem for Ben. And one of the things, as we're going to see in a clip right now, is that Ben doesn't necessarily take these legal threats seriously and hasn't gone
He seems like a goober, and also you could honestly argue that the things that he did weren't, like, completely legal. Like, him bullying them a bit and putting up those signs on his property. Like, you could always have them counter-argue and counter-sue them. Yeah, he's reckless. And I'm not, like, saying, like, all of what he did was great, but the overall conclusion should be, like, 200K Legos, I think that's fucking worse than him climbing on their fucking business, right? And putting up a sign. It's not like you vandalize it or set it on fire or some shit.
Lawyers as aggressively and as much as he should. Let's take a look at the clip.
We can thank him, but we should also write him a written apology as well.
Exactly. Yeah. And what's so interesting in that, dude, did you hear this? Where he's like, we are willing to drop the lawsuit against you. So help me understand it.
All the shit going on in the world and people obsessed with a guy getting screwed out of Lego collection is terrible and he should get justice. But in the grand scheme of things are worse things occurring at the moment. Buddy, do you realize like people have like fucking fatigue from all that fucking shit, right? Like, yeah, I'm aware there's like fucking actual civil war going on, or like fucking people blowing each other up, or like stabbing each other. I fucking understand, but like some people unironically have fatigue and they don't want to fucking listen to this, and I entertain it too. I get fucking fatigue from scrolling Twitter all fucking day, and it's a fucking just people at each other's throats all the time. I just want to relax, that dude. If you want to watch someone else, please, go ahead. That's your fucking prerogative. But don't fucking, like, go with this, oh, there's worse things going on right now. Okay, that's really nice. That's really nice. Then don't watch it. Don't watch this shit.
Are you aware of the lawsuit that they have against Brian, or is it
I
the
get
same
fatigued
one
too,
that you're
chat.
lumped into?
I do.
It's one lawsuit on all of us, and they're getting us for RICO charges. I don't really know what that is, but I heard it's a big deal. Yeah, I just saw.
I'm invested.
It's a big deal, and he's going to talk. I'll rewind here because he's going to talk.
I'm also curious as to what will happen if this ever finishes and resolves in court. As to like if there's going to be laws implemented to prevent this kind of like elder abuse, because this all basically started because an old man sold his figurines to basically recoup some money. Because he's sick, and, like, they wanted some money back in order to, like, finance themselves, right? And I'm like, you know, I don't know. I think this is kind of like borderline elder abuse. What the lawyers say. It is indeed a big deal. That's something you should take seriously. When you hear RICO charges, whether they're civil RICO charges or criminal, there is a difference there. We'll get into it when we do some more analysis down the line on that. We'll see whether or not that case sticks, which we'll talk about in a second. But this is a big deal for him. This could be crushing, like life-crushing liability, and it also can go for those GoFundMe funds. So if he doesn't take this seriously, if he doesn't actually go and lawyer up and try to fight back on this, he does risk that. That absolutely is at risk.
Yeah, I just saw a couple of like lawyers like briefly react to it. They're like RICO charges, you know, they're like, oh, this is insane. Like that's used for the mafia and stuff. You
mafia.
Know? So,
I mean, it is behaving like a mafia. The entire town's in on it.
If you get a RICO charge, that's like it's a badge of honor.
It's a white.
But and these guys are taking it in stride and kind of taking it. And okay, it's sort of a badge of pride. But take it seriously.
Mormon
Don't
mafia.
just say,
It's
okay,
a Mormon
now I've
church
got
or
this
something.
on me. I've got this sort of clout of being sued for RICO. I'm now this bad boy. No, you've actually got to fight this. You've actually got to step up and fight it. You've got to go to court. You've got to push back against this, right? Because we're at that stage now, and there's enough. And we'll get into the legal defense. There's enough for him to go back and actually do that. He actually has the resources to do that right now.
Boy, emotion right there.
He needs to find a good lawyer.
What they're claiming is that Brian hired me to harass Bricks and Minifigs when it couldn't be more the opposite. I saw this story and I was like...
And this dude, Ben, has a history of going in and doing this type of content. He didn't go out of his way to harass the Bricks and Minifigs people.
Let me help you.
He was just doing content, to be completely honest.
If you want to go for it, like go for it. You know, like I've already declared these Legos as a total loss, so you can't make this situation. He's like, maybe if Reckless Ben gets on it, he'll help a little bit. But...
Okay, so let's stop there. I think that is what exactly happened here. So Bricks and Minifigs wants to frame this as an extortion attempt, as something where they were going in from the beginning to extort them. Well, they're going in from the beginning to get what was justly theirs. And we've kind of exposed that, yes, they were indeed owed something. Bricks and Minifigs has admitted they were owed something. So if you are actually owed something, that is not extortion. That is trying to be made whole. Bricks and Minifigs, the franchise owner, were unjustly enriched. They were enriched in a way by the Star Wars collection in which they should not have been. They admitted that he was not paying out, the franchise owner was not paying out the Mancells.
They agreed to meet him multiple times to get it back, dude.
They should have been paying them out. That's a wrong there. That's not extortion. This was not something where they're saying, let's just shake down these people without any reason at all whatsoever. There's a very valid reason behind that. But the point here, beyond all of that, is once again, they do face risk here, and they also face risk of the Mansell's and Ben being separated.
Sorry, I wasn't listening for the last 30 seconds. Someone wrote something really chat.
And we've kind of exposed that, yes, they were indeed owed something. Bricks and Minifigs has admitted they were owed something. So if you are actually owed something, that is not extortion.
And it's in contract, too.
To be made whole. Bricks and Minifigs, the franchise owner, were unjustly enriched. They were enriched in a way by the Star Wars collection in which they should not have been. They admitted that he was not paying out, the franchise owner was not paying out the Mansells what they should have been paying them out.
I don't know, man. Like, I feel like if I owned a business, and especially, like, if you're gonna have, like, religious connotation to it, like, I'm just a morally just person without having, like, religious connotations attached to it. Why do you make your entire community look so horrible over $200,000 worth of Legos? It's not even worth it.
That's a wrong there. That's not extortion. This was not something where they're saying, let's just shake down these people without any reason at all whatsoever. There's a very valid reason behind that. But the point here, beyond all of that, is once again, they do face risk here, and they also face risk of the Mansells and Ben being separated in negotiations. Because what Bricks and Minifigs may try to do here is separate them out. They may try to say, okay, Mansells, we will pay you out, we will make you whole, but you've got to turn on Reckless Ben. So now Reckless Ben needs to be very careful, needs to make sure he's got his interests in line, and make sure he's saying, hey, listen, we're going in this together. We're going to come to a resolution that works for all parties, right? Works for the Mansells, works for Ben, works for Bricks and Minifigs, and we're going to settle this and get this done. Bricks and Minifigs wants to make the settlement just with the Mansells, but they want vengeance on Ben. Now,
for harassing him. Yeah.
I think I understand him
Rara,
and why he doesn't want to do this, or why he hasn't done this so far, but let's listen to the rest of the video.
But that's how the situation actually went down. Like, we have all the video to prove it. So, like, if they sue him, they're just, like, stupid, you know? Because, like, I have the video of our first initial conversation.
But they might even just sue him to, like, or sue them to waste time and waste resources. They probably have more money than, probably more than all of these people combined. Not, like, these people, but all of his friends and stuff.
Where he tells me the story, and I'm like, oh, this is an interesting story. Maybe we could do a video on this, you know? But, like, it's my decision to make. He didn't tell me to make the video. His friend is the one that reached out to me and is like, hey, this is an interesting situation, you know? And Brian was like, I just want the Legos back, you know, is what Brian's take has been. Now they're suing him just for wanting his own property back, which makes no sense. Like, what the heck?
So it does make sense, because they're trying to reframe the narrative. They're trying to reframe it as, oh, poor corporation. Oh, we're hurt
poor
here.
Corpo,
and they're also trying
they're
to
so
frame
poor.
him in the
They have
worst
no
possible
money.
light. Look, everybody
You mean like a slap lawsuit? I think slap lawsuits are a little bit different, but like, because I know that slap lawsuits are only legal in certain states, and one of them is Texas, and the only reason I know that is from CoffeeZilla, who got hit by one by Logan Paul or Jake Paul, whichever one of the two, over the crypto bullshit. And I don't know, I feel like in general, those kinds of lawsuits are very common. Like, people fucking talking about, like, oh, I don't have the money to fight them, so they're basically gonna win automatically, that type of shit.
Out there trying to get what is theirs and trying to see what they derive from it in terms of a benefit, right? So everybody can benefit from a situation. Obviously, let's be real, let's be honest and objective, as I always am on this channel. Obviously, Reckless Ben is a YouTuber. He does want attention. He does want clicks.
Clout,
he does obviously want monetization.
That's what. Excuse me. That's why he picked up the story in the first place, obviously.
It's normal. There's nothing wrong with that. That's not a sin to want that. But at the same time, he's able to actually do something good, bring publicity to this issue. That's not a huge conflict there. And oftentimes, if you're able to do good and profit, that's great. That's something that is very, I think, positive, and that brings a lot of benefits to the world. But Bricks and Minifigs,
Ben fleeing to Mexico isn't a good look legally. No, I agree, but like, what else was he supposed to do at that point? Get arrested and lose everything? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't blame him because legality and law in general is like very complicated. And unless he has like a lawyer on hand advising him on what to do every single step of the way, I think like, I don't know, man. I would argue in court like, oh, well, I'm like for my safety, like they were fucking harassing me for no reason. Like you quite literally saw in the video, all those police officers were just quite literally harassing him. They had no substantial like reason to be hunted down by these people.
wants to take this and turn this around to him being an evil, malicious person. So that's why he needs to do this differently. So let's go to my judgment. So the first thing that he needs to look at is to fund legal defense. And I think he can do this if you look at the terms here in the GoFundMe. It does talk about legal costs. And I think that this legal defense, a legal defense of the RICO, could use some of those funds. He's gathered more than enough to get the Legos back, to buy all the Legos and fund a legal defense here. So he's got enough for a real lawyer now. So that part is covered. But I understand Ben, and I know why he's skeptical of lawyers. He's skeptical of lawyers because a lawyer, if a lawyer was part of his team in the beginning of this, they would have told him to not do certain things. They might have told him to stop. Listen, lawyers, we can be fun killers here. We can be risk adverse. We're aware of that. We know that.
Well, yeah, I mean, honestly, it's kind of like if you're a stunt man and you bring a doctor along or a nurse for your stunts, like they're gonna tell you to fucking not do it. I get it. I get where he's coming from.
Sometimes YouTubers, particularly YouTubers,
don't do it, you'll break your legs. Yeah, that's the point.
Are gonna want to push the boundaries. I get that. I understand that. But there's a point at which you absolutely do need to get a lawyer involved, especially if the stakes have gotten this high. Once the stakes have escalated, you need to get rid of that bias, get rid of that tendency to not talk to lawyers or that lawyers are joy killers, and come back and get one on your team, especially when you have more than enough resources for it now. He also faces some very serious liability. This is not a joke, and he risks those GoFundMe funds being targeted by Bricks and Minifigs, which we don't want them to get. I also think negotiations with all parties, the Mancells, Bricks and Minifigs, and Ben, right? And he can do that with a representative, so he can send a lawyer there or a mediator on his behalf, right? Somebody who is his legal representative to engage in those negotiations, because maybe, you know, he's too in this personally. Maybe he needs a neutral party. Get a lawyer in there, get somebody in there to negotiate for you, sit at that table, come to a resolution, sign that off. I think that is the best one. And
I think all things considered in his pattern of behavior, he might just fucking raw dog it. He's like, fuck that shit, I'm gonna do it however I want. I don't want him to do that personally. Maybe this is just a woman moment, but like, I want him to win, and I want him to get the fucking Legos back or the money back from the dude to give to the dude. But he's kind of like all over the place. He's this free spirit.
If Bricks and Minifigs at any point during
he's
the
called
negotiation
Reckless Ben
is
for
in
a
bad
reason.
faith, they try to trick you, you can call them out. That's content. You've got the upper hand here. Ben definitely has the upper hand. The Mancells have the upper hand. So at any point, if they were to try to turn the tables on him or trick him, I think the eyes of the internet, the eyes of the world are still on this case. So the time is right to negotiate and get it done now. But I want to know what you guys think in the comments below, and I will catch you on the next one.
That fucking startled me. Fuck. Alright. Yeah, damn, dude. I didn't realize it fucking rang this deep. I thought he was just in Mexico right now and they've basically told him to shut up. Yeah. I hope Blends falls through. Yeah, me too. Was this been posted 3 days ago? So was this before the silencing? Or after? Probably before, right? Yeah, go check out Legal Mindset. Watch the coffee vid? It's really long. I might at some point. I'm not gonna double dip though.
Oh, yeah.